Welcome to Business at the Speed of Coffee, the one show about business, for business, by business. Well, today I have somebody with me who has an extraordinary story. He today has the biggest little business in New Zealand you never ever heard of. And it's a very compelling rags to riches story. I have with me the owner, founder, and today the chairman of New Image International. Welcome to Business at the Speed of Coffee, Graeme. Now, Graeme, you and I go back a very long way, and I kind of know a bit about your story, but share your extraordinary beginning right from the beginning. Where did it all start for you?
Well, it's been an interesting journey, Kim, because I didn't have a lot of education. I wanted to leave school early to go farming. I just had this passion to be on the land and to go farming.
Where?
Down in the Wairarapa in Masterton, is where I was raised. And farms cost a lot of money. And my parents weren't wealthy. Main reason was my dad worked for somebody else instead of working for himself. And I learned a lesson by his experience, because one day the person that he worked for said, "I don't need you any longer, Mr. Clegg." And it really had a serious impact on my father, because if you work for somebody else, you build their dream instead of
building your own dream.
Yeah. This is right. And so I went sharing. I thought, well, I remember the teacher saying at school, if you want to get rich, you've got to work hard. I believed that teacher, and so on investigation I found out that shearing sheep was the hardest physical work that you could do. So I decided to become a sheep shearer.
What's the most sheep you ever shore in a day?
Kim, I shore a world shearing record.
Oh, really?
And I shore more sheep than anybody had ever shorn before, every 43 seconds.
Oh, God.
And the tragedy was, it didn't make me rich. And one day a mentor friend of mine said to me, "Graeme, you're working the wrong program." I said, "Well, what do you mean? The teacher told me you work hard, you'll become rich." He said, "No, you're using physical muscle instead of mental muscle." He said, "Wealth's created up here." And I really switched on and realised that I had to make a change if I wanted to.
So what'd you do?
Well, I went through an unfortunate experience of losing my whole family with cancer. My mother, my father, my younger brother died at 46, and that was tragic. And I decided if I wanted to avoid the Grim Reaper, I had to do something about it.
Okay.
And that directed me to look at what I could do nutritionally to make a difference.
So you must have been, what, in your 30s or 40s when you started having that realisation?
I was actually 44 at the time, and so it's been a very exciting journey. It's taken me to meet Nobel Prize winners like Dr. Linus Pauling, to meet the professors and doctors and medical people. And interesting that whilst I don't have a medical background, I'm asked to speak to oncologists in hospitals, in stem cell conferences, biotechnology conferences. So I've learned a lot. In fact, I graduated from the University of Hard Knocks.
But it didn't start that way.
I've made it a real mission to follow science. It's so important today that everything has got scientific backing so that you can trust it.
Graeme, I know the business had its basis on K28, which was a supplement with protein, and the Ultra Diet, so weight loss. But subsequently, we've moved from that, haven't we?
We have, Kim, our journey into the nutritional supplements went back to my days farming when I saw the miracle of colostrum, which is the first milk that every mammal produces after giving birth. And if a baby lamb or a baby's calf mother died, it would also die in 24 hours with infection. And the belief at that stage was that colostrum only passed on immunity from the mother to the newborn. But we've since, by research, discovered that colostrum has active ingredients in there to switch on all the bodily functions: the cardiovascular system, the immune system, the nervous system, the energy system, the digestive system. And all these actives still work, doesn't matter what age you are. Yeah. So colostrum's only there for 3 days for survival, and then food becomes necessary for survival. So a lot of people think that milk, which is food, is colostrum. They're totally different substances.
Okay.
So with our research and the papers that have been published, we have 172 patents and trademarks out there globally. And I've been recognised as the father of colostrum, or the colostrum king. And I'm a little bit humbled by that title, but I guess I've been the prime driver of the awareness of colostrum around the world today as the foundation of good health.
So you started or took over. It was a small business, wasn't it? Was it called New Image at the time?
No, it really was a nutritional type business that hadn't been able to make it, and started off with a few ideas from that company and some products, and we've built up from a very low base to where we are today, ranked number 33 biggest direct selling nutritional company in the world today. And that's a pretty major achievement coming from a country of a population of only 4.5 million.
What's New Image look like today?
We have offices now in 22 countries around the world, and we've made a very big impact on people's lives in all countries. Health is the most priceless asset that you actually have, and when you lose it, it's very difficult to get it back again.
Now,
but we take it for granted.
These are products made here in New Zealand, right?
Yes, everything's made in New Zealand. Everything's been developed in New Zealand. We have 3 manufacturing plants in New Zealand. We have a big spray-dry dairy plant in Parata that's licensed to manufacture infant formula brands and to
things that go in a
China.
can like this, right?
Yeah, that's right. And tubes and bottles and tablets and capsules. We've got everything there. And what's interesting is the value of licenses to the EU and to all of the countries around the world, because we meet the virtually pharmaceutical standards for our production.
Oh, really? So this company based here in Auckland, now in 22 countries, and how many thousand, would you call them, distributors do you have working for you?
Well, we really focus on full-time distributors.
Oh, really?
People that are receiving commission checks. 200,000 people every month are receiving a check.
Wow.
In all of the various countries, which we track the volumes of product that they're all responsible for, computerised, and they get the payment in their various currencies.
200,000 people, so earning a living out of a company based here in Auckland. Around the world.
Earning a living or supplementing incomes, which is so important today with COVID-19 and all of the challenges that we're facing with employment and financial disruption, etc. A little bit of extra income can make so much difference to people's
So
lives.
there's 2 parts to the equation. There's the income that your distributors can make and so on, but there's also the development that goes into these products. Tell us a little bit about the research that you do to get products which obviously can succeed around the world.
Well, Kim, I'm the guinea pig. I didn't start New Image to make money. I started to save my life.
So all the things you've done, you'd have to be about 120 years old right now, right?
You would think so, but look, I feel like 40, Kim, certainly not
Come on,
the
how old are you?
which I am now. I wasn't prepared to admit 80, so for my birthday celebration we called it 40 plus 40.
Well done. Well, there you go.
In fact, most people don't realise I got the OBE on my birthday.
What was that?
I don't know whether I'm allowed to say this, but it's over bloody 80.
Well done. Well, you've still got the same old energy to make the business work. Now, I think I heard you say that you do a fair bit of travelling when you can. How far did you travel last year when you could travel?
Kim, it's unbelievable. I did 438,000 kilometres on flights last year, and it's only 380,000 kilometres to the moon.
Good.
So I got to the moon, I didn't quite get back. But the year before I'd done a similar amount, and I said it's not going to happen again. And I really relished the opportunity with COVID-19 to give me an opportunity for a breather to remain in New Zealand for 10 consecutive months.
Does it feel any different not being jet lagged?
I don't get jet lag, Kim, and I think it's got something to do with the nutritional build-up in my body. There's no question about it. On the biometric scales, my age is 46.
You're suggesting that a highly supplemented diet with a variety of products can make a difference to things like jet lag and indeed overall health.
Oh, it does. I've never had the cold or the flu for the last 37 years since I've been in this business, and that's called good management. I was fortunate to have a robust immune system. Prior to that, I didn't get colds or flus, but now I'm managing that. But on the biometric scales, it shows that my age is 46, and my IGF-1 is of a 52-year-old. So there are all sorts of blood tests and ways of determining what your physical age is. Now, you can't change your biological age. It's on your birth certificate, it's on your passport. I think they made a mistake with mine. I really can't believe that the years have gone by so fast. But look, I'm still playing singles tennis. I still work out in the gym every day, on the exercycle, on the rowing machine, doing weights, doing martial arts, and really getting the most out of life because I love adventure. And I got to tell you and the listeners, one lifetime is too short to do everything that's possible in the world today.
But a lot of that's got to do not just with physical activity, it's exercising the mind. Tell us what you do to stay positive.
Well, I think I'm driven. I've established a movement. It's more than a business. It's become a global movement. And I'm very passionate about sharing what I've learned about cancer-free lifestyles, what I've learned about how to increase the number of stem cells circulating. I've learned about telomeres. I didn't know what that word was. I didn't realise every cell has driven the number of multiplications by what's known as telomeres. They're like a chain on the end of every chromosome, and every time a cell regenerates, one drops off, and there's only a limited number. So if you can slow down the telomere burn rate, you can increase your lifespan.
And how do you do that?
Well, taking some of the products that we have here
like
with us
plug,
today. They certainly have made a difference to me, and they're scientifically proven to make a difference to everybody else. So I can't tell you what product is making all the difference because I've been told that I have the most expensive urine in the world, and I'm taking, in fact, I'm the guinea pig taking probably close to 40 different tablets and capsules a day. I don't know which one is as effective as it is, but I'm not going to take the risk of cutting any out.
But Graeme, even as of today, there's an argument in the paper about obesity, and there's a constant ongoing debate about a sugar tax and so on. Realistically, can we expect the population to be healthier?
We have to do something about it. There is no choice, Kim. We have to face the ageing population and the impact that's going to have on economies, and we've also got to look at the cost of healthcare. In fact, healthcare could bring down many economies in the Western world today. So we've got epidemics and obesity, no question about that. And there are solutions. A new image started 37 years ago, focused on what's known as the protein-sparing modified fast ketogenic diet. Many of the listeners will have heard of the ketogenic diet or the metabolic diet. Well, we really were the instigators of that program. It was developed by Harvard Medical School.
A lot of people said it wasn't healthy at the time. Now, of course, the Australian government is promoting it.
Well, it's a natural weight loss program, and one thing that we've learned, the immune system is a supercomputer. It's driving everything in the body. It's managing your blinking, your hormones, your temperature, every aspect. And it's the same, it's managing weight gain, weight loss. And we have a fat burn switch. And this program enables you to identify the fat burn switch, switch it on, and you lose weight. We even have a cheat stick that you can measure whether you're eating the right foods or not. Whether the fat burn switch is on or it's gone off because you've eaten processed foods loaded with sugar, loaded with carbohydrates. And a lot of people, through misinformation, through commercialisation, through manufacturers just interested in profit only, not the outcomes of their the nutrition of their product, and we've got this serious problem today.
The one ingredient we haven't talked about is people. What is it that really gets people motivated in your view?
Well, I think the important thing is to have a purpose, to understand that everybody was born with potential. So we're all about encouraging people to strive, to be able to try and better themselves, to set high goals, etc. the one thing I've had is discipline, not to get distracted, to what I believe in, to focus strongly on it through the ups and downs where a lot of people give up, to be resilient, to bounce back, because life was never made to be easy out there. And I look at every challenge as or every obstacle as something that I need to overcome, because if I don't do it now, it's going to come up later. And if I can master that, then I can move forward.
Now, these are very sound, basic ideas. Sound great in English. How do they translate into Swahili and Vietnamese and Thai and all these other places where you've built your business?
Well, it's interesting that I have to get translations done in all of the languages and the countries, but everybody has the same dreams. Kim, everybody dreams in Technicolor. Yeah. Everybody sees themselves doing well, getting the best out of life. No child ever dreamed of a rented home or an apartment or a second-hand car or struggling to meet their bills. And so we've got to make that a reality. And as I said earlier on, you've got to build your own dream, because nobody else is going to build it for you. But with that, a caution, I've got to add that it's very difficult to do it on your own. And that's where our networking principle came in, that we attracted people of similar likes, similar ideals, and we all get together and the power comes out of the team and the team effort.
Well, that brings me to an important point. Today we're living in a networked, connected world where technology is both building hope and also corrupting it. To what extent does your basic, what I think are simple but very strong ideas, dovetail into how this technology is taking over people's lives?
Well, it's having a big impact on marketing. There's no question about that. Our networking is all about people that are communicating and sharing stories. It's socialising. We're in a social world today. We've got all of these systems to help us with Facebook and the email, etc. And so simply taking a product, overcoming a health challenge and sharing it. Now, this is completely natural. It's not selling. We don't sell at all. Our products give people benefits, and they automatically say, oh, we want to continue. How do we do this? And
so the technology is an enabler.
Definitely an enabler. It still requires trust. And I think one of the things that are missing in typical advertising today, the way we go about marketing, is trust, establishing trust. We know that celebrities are paid to do endorsements, etc., but nobody gets paid to endorse products like what New Image is marketing, because people talk from their heart. They don't have to be doctors. They don't have to be medical people. If they had indigestion and it's gone, all they say is, I took this tablet and I don't have indigestion any longer. Or they share their story. It's as simple as that. And you can trust the honesty and integrity of people, because you can see through, can't you?
Even I know we've got COVID-19 probably making life a bit more difficult for rallies, but do people in your group still get together in large groups and discuss their stories and so on?
Some countries, yes, and obviously in New Zealand we're allowed and able to,
right now.
to get
but let's assume
together,
the world's normal.
No, we've had to move very much to online conferencing, etc. And we can now have 1,000 people or more coming on some of our conference calls. We broadcast weekly out of our studio in Mahunga Drive to all of the countries. Everything has got subtitles for the various languages, etc. And so we've had to become very, very proficient. It's called adaptation, which the whole world is having to adapt. It's never going to go back to what it was. And everybody's hinging hopes on a vaccine. And I want to dash hopes, but they haven't got a vaccine for SARS after 17 years. This coronavirus is a family. And if you're going to do a vaccine, what mutation of COVID-19 are you going to vaccinate against? The mild form for the masses or the serious form that's causing hospitalisation? Is it already mutated past, like the flu vaccine every year? It has to be a new vaccine. And if you go back into ancient history, we've had epidemics one after the other. They didn't have any vaccines. What happened? Those people that were vulnerable with a weak immune system sadly passed away, but there was always those with a strong immune system that survived, our ancestors. That's why we're here today. So in the end, it's up to every individual to protect themselves.
And this particular strain of virus does some terrible collateral damage to the body. And have you got some products that can help with that?
We have, Kim, the virus itself is not really the problem. It's the damage that it does back to the immune system, the software program that we're talking about. Cytokine storm, sounds pretty technical. Blood clots, lack of oxygen in the red corpuscles, vulnerability to opportunist bacteria like pneumonia, etc. And these secondary infections are having a major effect. And so we've developed a product by our research. We've discovered that there are live antibodies in colostrum. We get it from cows. We've got a lot of cows in New Zealand, and they have very large quantities of these antibodies. And coming from a mammal, they're just as effective as humans as they are in the cow. So cows get blood poisoning, diarrhea, pneumonia, and so the antibodies are weaponry that have got memory that circulate in the bloodstream. They find a terrorist or an invader there, and they know how to shoot it down. And that's how our immune system's working. So we're doing this reinforcement. So we've been 37 years developing ingredients that are active, that are able to identify and destroy bacteria and viruses. Now, most people don't understand that antibiotics are ineffective against viruses, only bacteria. And so through indiscriminate use of antibiotics, we've created a serious problem, and this is where the mutations are actually coming from. Yeah, that's where they're starting. So we have a product that is 40% immunoglobulin. It's a whole family of weaponry. That's known as IgG, IgA, IgM, IgY. Sounds a little bit technical, but just think of it, the American military. You've got tanks, you've got missiles, you've got ships and planes and all of these things. Well, your body's immune system has got more weaponry, and the battle plan passed on from generation to generation in the US military's got. It's an amazing story, isn't it?
Is there evidence that the immunobodies which are in the colostrum, which you've put into your products, actually migrate through the gut into the bloodstream?
Yes, we're able to prove that, and we do clinical trials to substantiate our beliefs, and we deal with a particular university in the United States that has a high security laboratory, and we've been able to prove that our antibodies destroy all coronaviruses, the whole family. Doesn't matter whether it's SARS or MERS or whatever it is. And it's pretty exciting, the progress that we've made and what we're showing, and we haven't released it yet, so there's our effectiveness against COVID-19.
So that's something for people to look forward to, of course.
Well, we've had no doubt about it. It's just a matter now of breaking down some of the barriers that make it very difficult to get products. We call them non-pharmaceutical intervention, Kim. We're going to see more and more non-pharmaceutical intervention because drugs only really attack the symptoms. I'm not sure that the pharmaceutical companies want to get at the cause because it's going to cut their incomes back. And we're into a little bit of a controversial area here, whereas we're looking at getting at the cause, whatever it may be, and addressing that through the immune system, because the immune system is managing every function, and if it's at optimum, our health's going to be at optimum. It's common sense.
And also having good mental attitude can help your immune system.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. The placebo effect, just the belief, it helps you in your progress. It helps you with success, and it certainly helps you with being able to overcome challenges and disease. I mean, we've seen some amazing stories.
Has running a business from New Zealand been a challenge?
No, I think it's been an advantage. You know, we've got time to think here. We've got resources in the country. We've got unique and bioactive ingredients here in New Zealand. It's got a good name. We've got a very well-educated population. I think we're creative people when you compare with a lot of other countries. And so, yes, we've been able to put a very, very good management team. We have over 200 employees here in New Zealand, and we've increased sales over this period of time. We've had no government support. We've been able to manage our own business, grow globally, and we're pretty proud of that. We're probably New Zealand's best kept secret, but I don't think we'll be a secret for much longer.
Well, Graeme, I'd like to, I mean, this is it's a wonderful story, I think, for New Zealand to have any exporting, and certainly these sorts of products out of a country like New Zealand would have a good reputation, clean, green, all those sorts of things. But of course, the tyranny of distance is something everyone talks about. It obviously hasn't worried you too much because you spend a lot of time in an airplane. But does that sense of isolation telegraph through a large organisation like yours, or do now people see New Zealand as just another country down the street?
Well, the world's become smaller, there's no question about that, and there's a greater facilitation of distribution today with Amazon and everything coming on stream. We're going to see more and more of that. So we can run a global shop from New Zealand with online marketing, and we're working in that direction. Just got to get the cost factor down. It's become a real challenge there.
Now, I know you're only 40 plus young.
I'm a recycled teenager.
A recycled teenager.
We've got to get the terminology right.
So for Graeme Clegg at New Image International, what's next?
Well, the sky's the limit, Kim. I remember when we first started in 1984, we thought, would it be possible to do $1 million sales in a year? And I had a number of people that were doubters that said, no, there's no show you can actually do that. We went ahead and we proved them wrong. Time later, we did $1 million a month, and that was our target, and we achieved that. So everything we set, what you think about comes about. Then we thought, where can we go from here? And it was hard at that stage to ever envisage that it would be possible to do $1 million a day. Kim, we're exceeding $1 million a day sales. We're one of New Zealand's biggest exporters of value-added nutritional supplements.
I mean, that's a fantastic story. And let's face it, when we finish with COVID-19, I suspect we'll be coping with another one.
Yes.
And so the work that you're doing will be of great benefit. If you were going to give some advice to a young person starting his business today, what would the one main piece of advice be?
I would say, Kim, don't see any obstacles. Don't listen to people that say something can't be done. Anything is possible to those that believe. And I've got to add, you must stay focused. There's too many temptations today. I wouldn't like to be growing up in today's world because it's hard to believe what's real, what's genuine. But the word image stands for eye magic, the imagination of the mind, the magic of the mind. That's why we chose. Everybody wants a new image that's out there, and I think it's very appropriate. But you talked earlier on about young people. It's the young people's world. There is amazing opportunity still out there. And we need young people to run regions in New Zealand, to drive the networks in New Zealand. And we've got a wonderful support program and great means of starting off with some supplementary income, moving through to a full-time income, and then go and manage one of our countries, because we aim to be in 100 countries within the next 5 years. Kim, I'm still looking at 30-year plans, don't get me wrong. I'm not looking at any stage of retiring. I get up every morning, I can't wait to get to work and see what new exciting developments have come in on email or by phone. So it's an incredible journey.
Well, Graeme, with that wonderful message of optimism and hope, I wish you all the very best. I look forward to having this interview for the next 40th birthday. And thank you, Graeme Clegg, for being on Business at the Speed of Coffee.
Well, thank you, Kim. I'll take you on with that. But before, I'd like to invite you to my 100th birthday, and there's only 2 conditions. You know what they are?
Uh-oh.
The first one is you've got to bring a tennis racket, because I love my tennis, and you must bring your dancing shoes, because we're going to have a good time. Good
Excellent.
Okay, thank you.